Hey, yo, everyone, Andrew here, bringing you another video review. And today we're going to be doing a singular issue. It's going to be the much anticipated Batman Catwoman. I just picked it up from my comic store and I just read it and I have my thoughts on it. Excuse the look. Today I actually didn't have to go to the gym and I just slept a full 8 hours. I don't even know how to explain it. Being 33, getting a full 8 hours is magical, but it's like a slower start to the day. But we're not talking about my sleeping routine. We're talking about Batman Catwoman. I did not get the normal cover, but I did get the cover I wanted, which was the Batman Catwoman Jim Lee kind of cover, which is gorgeous. As you guys all know, I basically suck the dick of Jim Lee's art. It's absolutely beautiful. So if I ever meet Jim Lee again, this will be one of the things that I would want to get signed. So Batman Catwoman, I'm going to make this a relatively quick video. I say that, it might turn into a 20-minute video, but as you guys all know, I have the most mixed feelings on Tom King, his writing, and just in general, the direction that he's taken Batman. On one hand, I like the fact that he was having Batman and Catwoman get together, because I think it's long overdue that Batman settles down. Catwoman's kind of the perfect spouse for him. And the story leading up to issue number 50 was really fun, particularly the Super Friends arc, where him and Catwoman double date with Superman and Lois Lane, and also him going to the alternate dimension with Wonder Woman. But there's a lot of good stuff in there, right? And it was just fun, and sales were good. Sales were killing it. And then they did the fake wedding, which pissed me off. And the reason why it pissed me off is because it was being promoted as it was going to happen. If issue 50 just kind of, the wedding, the fake wedding, if it just kind of snuck up on us and it was just another issue, then I think I could have handled it a lot better and realized it for what it was. But instead, the promotions, everything just slapped us in the face. Then the Nightmare story arcs, and then we got some more good stuff, but it was hit and miss afterwards. Although the Mr. Freeze stuff was pretty good too. What I'm trying to get at is that I really like the idea of Catwoman and Batman getting together, but I think the execution of it was not the best it could have been. It could have been handled a lot better in the hands of maybe another writer. I think someone, and they're not going to get him, but like Jeff Loeb really had a good understanding. Paul Dini had a really good understanding of Batman and Catwoman, so you can kind of do that. In addition to that, Tom King is also kind of a controversial writer in terms of what he says, and outside of comic books, and I'm not going to go into that too much, but sometimes I agree with what he says, and sometimes he just annoys me. I don't know. He seems like a generally nice guy, but I really want to focus more or less on the content of the book itself. Now, this is Black Label, so that means it's in continuity if you want it to be. It's kind of conflicting on whether or not this is considered canon or not. Some writers like Tinian says, yeah, it's not really, but then Tom King is like, oh yeah, it definitely changes continuity for sure. Whatever the case may be, for my mind's eye, I consider it canon. A lot of references are made to previous Batman stories. Depending on how this story ends, this could fit nice and easily in between King's run and Tinian's run. So I don't see what the problem is with counting as canon. The big sum and gist of it is that Andrea Belmont from Mask of the Phantasm, the actual Mask of the Phantasm, shows up asking Bruce for help finding her son. Now, this is during the present day. In the future, we see Catwoman, an old Catwoman, going to meet an old friend. And I don't want to reveal spoilers or anything like that, but this is obviously taking place after Bruce dies. We get canonically, at least in Tom King's mind and his storytelling, that Bruce dies from cancer in his like 70s or 80s from fighting Dr. Phosphorus. But we get the present and we get the future, but we also get the past a bit. We get interactions between Catwoman and Joker in the past. And that's the basic gist. So the meat of the story is, I want to say, Bruce and Catwoman looking for Andrea's son, who is also named Andrew. Really good name. But other than that, it's kind of jumps back and forth, and which brings me to the good, the bad, and whether or not you should get it. A good art is fantastic. It's beautiful. Clayman is just absolutely killing it on art. One of the best Batman artists in the past 10 years, I want to say. So it's good to know that he's going to be consistently on the book. Number two, obviously, I love the fact that they're bringing the Phantasm in. I grew up off of Batman, the animated series, so to have such a momentous element, because that movie was so momentous, a momentous element from that show or that era come into main continuity. This is really one of the first times in a long time. I mean, obviously we have Harley Quinn. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head. I'm sure there's a bunch, but this is a huge thing. And Catwoman literally recaps the fucking movie. Like, you think it'd just be the character showing up and being reintroduced, but apparently the history of that story exists. So Catwoman says, this is the woman who, your first love, who later became a killer vigilante, as sometimes happens with your lovers. Didn't see her die in the fire with the Joker, but the Joker survived, so apparently she did. She basically recapped the meat of that story. So I thought it was going to be, this is the first time that the Phantasm shows up in continuity, which it is, publishing-wise, but I mean, timeline-wise, but apparently she and Bruce had the Mask of the Phantasm adventure to some degree in the past, probably in year 1 or 2. So that's also really cool. And again, a lot of people get cheeky about the dialogue between Catwoman and Batman, but I enjoy the dialogue between Catwoman and Batman. I like the Batcat stuff. So, yeah. Bad. Only really 2 bads. Number 1 is I don't care for the jumping back and forth, more or less in the future. I don't think it's good to have the future being written in stone, and it never is with comic books. At least this future is a little bit more positive in my mind. Batman and Catwoman stay together, they're married, they have a big family, at least extended family with the Bat family, and yeah, he dies of cancer, but I mean, shit, that's better than how I thought Batman was gonna die. But I just don't like always shifting to the future, because it kind of handcuffs you on storytelling. But what really kind of annoyed me was the amount we went back and forth between past, present, and future, and it was a little hard to discern where we were. There's a part in the book where Catwoman is with Joker in the past, but she's wearing a costume that's similar to the costume she wears in the present, only a different color. So I got thrown off. And when I mean present, I don't mean the present by this issue. I mean like the current continuity costume. So I think what they should have done, and Clayman introduces some new designs for Batman and Catwoman's costume, I think they should have been very clear with what certain characters look like in each time era. Batman in the past should have the yellow oval, and the present have the black bat symbol, and the future, I guess, dead. Catwoman should be wearing like either the purple costume, or it'd be really cool if they brought out the gray costume from the animated series in the past, but probably the purple costume. And then her current continuity costume, and then in the future is whatever. I do like the look of Joker in the past. They give him and I'll pull it up, they give him a costume that's very similar to, Dark Knight Returns, but it's just the way that they present him in it. It looks really cool. I love it. So it's that. And the only other bad, and it's not really too much of bad, there's very little Batman in here. In comparison to Catwoman or other elements. I think Bruce is probably in this title 30% of the time, whereas it's a title that he should be sharing is very much more of a Catwoman comic, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's a bit deceptive. Overall, my thoughts on this and whether or not you should get it. Yeah, it's a good start to a good story arc. Very little to complain. It's very beautiful. I would give this probably a 4.5 out of 5 for stars. I'm super excited for it going forward. You guys know how much I love Catwoman and Batman being a couple, and technically they still are. They're just taking a break right now in continuity, but this is really good stuff. If you get a chance, go pick it up. My comic store had, so here's the thing, I forgot to subscribe for this, to add this to my pull list. So when I got there, I'm like, oh shit, I gotta add this to my pull list. and I did, but then I saw the issues and all I got were these covers, which again, all I wanted was this cover, but there was a ton of issues. So I'm thinking comic stores are going to stock up on it quite a bit. So if you did not get this on your pull list, I don't think you have anything to worry. It should be easy to get hands on. So with that said, this is Andrew saying peace out for now.